Good evening, everyone, and welcome into another edition of the Royals Rundown podcast presented by Royals Review. I am Jacob Milham, joined today by the illustrious Jeremy Hokius Greco. Jeremy, happy Sunday. It's the one of the best Sundays of all where we don't have to work on Monday. I'm so excited.
I am also excited. Let me tell you.
You got big plans for your day off, or just another day of sleeping in?
Just another day. Well, I probably won't even sleep in that much. I've been trying to stabilize my sleep schedule because what I've discovered about myself is that if I let myself stay up till like 2 or 3 in the morning on Friday, Saturday, I can't go to sleep Sunday night. So I've been trying not to
Yeah,
sleep in too much. But at least when I get up,
gotcha.
I don't have to like get up and like be moving and ready to go. I can just be like, I am awake. Let me just stare at the ceiling for 30 minutes. It's fine.
Well, I don't know what's scarier, the fact that you're staying up until 2 or 3 on some nights, or the thoughts that go through your head when you're staring at the ceiling for 30 minutes.
We won't
That sounds pretty
we can't talk
terrifying.
about those in public. But, the staying up late, I if I didn't have to get up in the mornings, I wouldn't sleep at night. When I was
Really, you're a
unemployed
night
for about
owl?
yeah, when I was unemployed for about 6 months once upon a time, and I didn't go to bed till 6 or 7 AM most times.
Man, I couldn't imagine. I'm
I
almost
am
out of the military. Maybe I'll go through a period like that.
maybe. It'd be
We
good
shall
to get you
see.
out of the military one way or the other.
Yep, that'll win. I will
We
agree
want
with
civilian
that.
Jacob.
You'll get them soon enough. Trust me.
I can't
Trust me.
I can't wait to see what your hairstyle does.
You know, Honey's always like, Honey's wondered about that, and I haven't really paid it a whole lot of thought because what I'm more paying attention to is what the heck am I gonna wear, right? Like for my whole
Yeah.
adult life, most of the time I've been told what to wear and how to wear it and where to wear it to. Now I get to choose for myself, and it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be wild.
I do gym shorts and T-shirts most of the time, so,
Nice and comfy cozy, huh?
yeah, I'm all about the let's not make this any more complicated than it needs to be.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Were
Well,
we
hey,
gonna talk
speaking
about
of
baseball, though?
yeah, that's I was just about to say, speaking of keeping things simple, making them less complicated than they need to be, we can
We
always
got
talk about
so
some
far
Kansas
off the
City
rails that
Royals.
even I got uncomfortable.
Well, I set the tone talking about the ceiling thoughts. But anywho's, genuinely, folks, we're here to talk about the Kansas City Royals baseball. Not a lot of news on the Royals front. However, later on in the episode, we'll talk about the two biggest free agent moves so far this offseason. And we're also going to run down the infield rankings for the Kansas City Royals. So we'll get to that here in a moment. But I do want to remind y'all this podcast is presented by Royals Review. A lot of great work goes on over at Royals Review, and we're not that far away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Not that far away from the World Baseball Classic. Like,
No.
we are about to get baseball back in the limelight, and I'm really excited for it. If you want to get informed on all things Royals, if you want to join the comment community, I highly suggest it. But go check out royalsreview.com no matter why you do. All right, Jeremy. So we've been doing these. We've been doing the rankings this off season. We still have a few more ahead of us, which I am genuinely like really excited for the pitching side of things.
Yes, that's gonna we saved that for last, but we gotta make sure we get there before spring training.
I know, I know. We will get there, folks. I promise you, we will get there. And we have the next chapter right now with the infield. So Jeremy and I, we went 15 deep each on how we rank out the shortstops, second baseman, and the third baseman. And Jeremy, I'm putting you on the spot here, but it was your kind of idea slash call to group these positions together. Wondered if you could explain to our listeners why you felt that was necessary.
Well, because so many guys who are playing shortstop now, especially in the lower levels, could be playing second or third as they advance. As we've seen with guys like Nick Lofton and Tyler Tolbert, you could play one position of the minors. A lot of these guys, if they make it to the majors, are going to end up being utility guys playing all over the place. Even with Bobby Witt Jr., who was a shortstop, he came up and played third base for a chunk of his first season. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's a lot to handle. A lot of these guys, a lot of times infielders get drafted as shortstops and then move, and then outfielders get drafted as center fielders and move. So one of the guys that we're going to talk about today, at some point, Josh Hammond, was drafted as a shortstop pitcher. Everyone pretty much is sure he's going to play third base when he gets to the big leagues. So it to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to look at guys and say, oh, well, we're ranking the shortstops and we only go 5 deep and we don't talk about a bunch of guys who are worth talking about because they haven't moved to third or second yet. And then we go look at the third and second baseman and we're like, I don't even know who's here. Actually,
Yeah.
I was even going to pitch next year. We group the first baseman in here too, because a lot of the guys that we looked at first base are guys who were playing second and third as well as first in the minor leagues, because that's just how things work.
That's a good point. That is a good point. But that's next year's problems. Let's go ahead and get on to this year. And Jeremy, I want you to start us off with who is your shocking number one overall infielder for the Royals? Who's the hot take?
So, I thought I'd go ahead and give this to Jonathan. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I'm not. It's Bobby Witt Jr. He's perhaps, if we were doing all of MLB, he would probably still be number one on this list. I mean, what can you say about the guy? He had a down year and finished fourth in MVP voting. That was a bad
Yeah.
year for Bobby Witt Jr.
Isn't that crazy? And it wasn't just like pockets of negative Nancy Royals fans saying that. It was like a lot of folks saying like, "Oh, this is the year of regression for Bobby Witt
It was
Jr. What are they gonna do?"
it was me. I was one of the people who was like, "Come on, Bobby, you got to be better than this."
And lo and behold, he was. He was. I think that, and just to be clear, Bobby is my number one guy on my list as well.
Good. I was worried.
I hope you weren't. But this is I'm trying to think how to word this because there are a lot of talented shortstops around the game, right? Like we're not saying that Bobby Witt Jr. is, just the head and shoulders best shortstop in the game. There's a lot of
I am.
really good guys. I think that my
Who's
colored glasses can say that.
who?
Go ahead. Go
There's a
ahead.
handful of guys who are close. Trey Turner,
Yes.
Francisco Lindor. If we're
Yeah.
including all 3 infield spots other than first base, Jose Ramirez has an argument.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of, is there anyone else? Gunnar Henderson really fell off last year. Jackson Holiday
He
hasn't
did.
reached that level yet. It's
I
not
think
Marcus
you could
Simeon.
toss Corey Seager in there.
Corey Seager, to me, he doesn't offer the speed or defense that Bobby does. So even though he's got a little bit more power, Bobby brings more to the position in a way that I don't feel like Corey Seager really can compete.
Okay.
So
So
to me,
what
it's Jose Ramirez, it's Francisco Lindor, it's Trey Turner, and those to me are a Ketel Marte. There was the second baseman I was trying to think of, and to me they're a clear second tier, but they're all below Bobby. I wouldn't take any of
Yes.
those guys above Bobby.
And that's what I was getting to is I want folks to question like is Bobby Witt Jr. the is he truly the best shortstop in the game? Who would you trade for him? Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
would you rather have Francisco Lindor on your team? Would you rather have Jose Ramirez on your team? And
Remember
I
that those
think
guys are
that
all older.
correct. All older, much more experience, and yet Bobby Witt Jr. is reaching the heights that they have and surpassing them overall.
The only There's only 2 position players that I could even consider taking over Bobby Witt Jr. And I still think I'd take Bobby.
Okay. Okay.
Aaron Judge and
I
Cal Raleigh.
I think that's pretty good company to be in. That is what the MVP race rattled out to be last year. Aaron Judge and Bobby Witt Jr. have been focal points of the MVP race now for 2 seasons in a row. I don't think that there should be any reason why both of them aren't in that same race in 2026.
And Aaron Judge is over 30, so you don't know how long he's gonna be able to keep doing this. And Cal Raleigh is
That's
a
right.
catcher. The offense is a very volatile thing for catchers. Ask Salvi.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd still probably take Bobby over both of them, but those are the 2 guys that I'm like, "Man, they were so good last year." If I was just doing 1 year, maybe I'd think about them.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Not
All
Bryce
right.
Harper, not a bunch of other guys, not Juan Soto, not Fernando Tatis Jr., not Byron Buxton. Really talented guys, they're not Bobby Witt Jr.
Yep. And I think that's a good way to put it. So hey, moving on to number 2 on my list, who I think is going to be your number 2 as well. However, I don't want to assume anything. I got third baseman Maikel Garcia.
But yeah,
This
I
was
had third baseman Jonathan and I'm sorry, no, I'm kidding, it's Maikel Garcia, yes, you're right.
Jesus. Stop scaring me. Stop scaring me, Jeremy. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I mean, we talk about like there's only so much you could say about Bobby Wood Jr. how great he is. I think the same sentiment applies to just how big of a turnaround Michael Garcia's 2025 was compared to 2024. The glove was one of the best at the position in baseball. He's a really passionate player, and this year it felt like everything he was doing with that passion or with a purpose. And like you brought it up on the podcast before how like we love that he does the bat flip whenever he draws a walk, right?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he
It's
takes
my favorite thing.
pride in everything he does. I love it. I really do. Now, here's an approach I took with everyone below Bobby. It's like, okay, well, why is Michael not number one? And I
Because
think
Bobby
that
Witt
when you
Jr.
look back,
exists?
true, but it's not a conversation, right? Because Bobby is so complete. So what is Michael lacking to compete with Bobby Wood Jr. for that top spot? Does that make
Alright,
sense?
what's your answer? Yeah, I'm curious.
My answer is the base running.
Interesting.
He's still got the 23 stolen bases this year, great counting number, but he was so far below average when it came to actually being successful at stealing bases. He his bad decisions outweighed his good decisions when it came to taking extra bases. And I get it, Bobby wasn't perfect, but Bobby has much better speed and also still had better decisions and better process, thus better results. Michael Garcia, he had good results, but the process was really flawed, and I hope that's something that they work on heading into 2026.
I just wanna throw
What
out
do you got
there
here?
that, on Maikel Garcia that let's see, almost all of his caught stealings were in April, and then,
Yeah,
there were a couple in May, and then he had 2 for the rest of the year. I think he had an issue early on, and he corrected it. So,
okay,
I wanna give him that credit. I wanna say that the biggest thing that is holding Maikel back from being Bobby is home runs. We're hoping
yeah,
that he's a 2020. I mean, the speed is also a thing because 'cause we're hoping he's a 2020, maybe a 2030 guy if he gets back the instincts he had from 24. We're hoping that we'll see that from him with the fences drawn in 26. But with Bobby, it could be a 40-40 season.
that's true.
So, like, 2030 is a really good year. But that's the difference between the 2 of them is one of them could have a really good year and one of them could have a historic year.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Bobby is still doing historic things as well. So, hey, I'll admit this issue on my end. So we were doing the top 15 infielders, and my brain
Mhm.
defaulted to still including Vinny in the list.
See?
And
See?
oh, yeah, you got me. So I will say that when I initially did this, I had Vinny at number 3. Do you think that
Yeah,
that's the
that checks
spot you
out.
would put Vinny as well?
Yeah, I might put him I might move him to 2 with the fences in. It
Okay,
it would it's he's probably 3. He's probably really close at 3, but he's yeah, I think 3 makes the most sense.
gotcha. So who do you have at number 3, Jeremy?
The funny just real quick before I give you that, I do wanna say the funny thing about this exercise is that if we did 20 infielders and included first baseman, I'm not sure we would have seen another minor league first baseman.
I don't think we would have.
Maybe Brett Squires might have shown up late in
Maybe.
the list somewhere.
That is a long shot, my friend.
Yeah. And that's both a testament to how weak their first base group is and how strong their infield group is. I
Yeah.
did struggle a bit, but once I got into the lower minors, we got some really interesting guys. But we're not there yet. Right now we're at third, and that's Jonathan India, and I'm serious this time.
Yes. Thank goodness. I have him at number 3 as well.
And it's just so what he brings is the elite ability to not chase. And that you were talking last time about carrying tools. Is that what you called it? Carrying tools, or was there another term
Yep,
you used? I'm
carrying
trying to remember.
tools.
So
Nope,
that's his
carrying tools.
carrying tool is elite lack of chase. And it's something that no one else in the high levels has is a carrying tool. So I think he's likely to bounce back, especially if they don't mess with him positionally and if he doesn't get hurt early on. Will he be an amazing second baseman? No, but I think it was probably crazy to think of him as an amazing second baseman ever. It's not like Brady Singer was an amazing pitcher when the Royals traded him. They were trading a pretty good starting pitcher for what they hoped was a pretty good leadoff hitter. And
Yeah.
hopefully Jonathan India can be that again, especially if the rest of the lineup is a little bit deeper and there's not quite so much pressure on him.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I do think that a lot of the Royals' best hitters last year struggled because there were 3 or 4 of them. And then they were like, "Well, I gotta hit like I'm 2 or 3 guys in order to get this lineup to run."
Well, and that was one of the notes that I took on Vinny was like, okay, what's his flaw, right? Like we talked about it beforehand, but something that I found out when I was doing research for this episode is that he did chase like a lot more than I thought, and he did so especially more on two strike situations, like where the pressure was on for him to produce in that three hole. So yeah, I definitely think that it's a ripple effect thing, just as that lineup gets deeper. But like that's the thing that it all hinges upon is the lineup actually getting deeper, you know?
Yeah, and I wrote about this last week a little bit, is that I think confidence is so important for hitters because of the literally split-second decisions they have to make. They literally have 0.4 of a second or less from when the pitch is delivered to when they have to be hitting it, which means they have about a tenth of a second, maybe a 0.2 of a second sometimes, to decide whether they're gonna swing at a pitch. So you have to know, you have to feel good, and if you're not feeling good, you're not gonna make good decisions, your decision process is gonna slow down.
Yeah,
When you've got a lineup and you're like, "I can trust these guys, I just need to focus on doing my best in this at bat. I don't have to do anything in particular. I just need to do the best that I can," whether that's take a walk or hit like, I wanna do something positive. I would love to hit a home run, but it's not, I have to hit a sacrifice fly or we're gonna lose.
yeah. Hey, do you know what a mulligan is in golf?
Is that where you get to retake the shot?
Yeah, it's an extra stroke that's allowed after you take a bad shot.
Okay.
And I want listeners to ask themselves, are we willing to give Jonathan India a mulligan on 2025?
The Royals certainly are, and I feel like we
Yeah,
have been given very little choice in the matter.
that's true. Absolutely. I'm not saying that people being willing to forgive India first 2025 is going to change things on the field. I am more coming at that from the perspective of, are we going to allow it to change like how we talk about Jonathan India early in 25, whether he struggles or not? I'm at the point right now, like the team already made their decision. They believe that he can still be a contributor, and I kind of want to believe the same. It's 2025 was ugly, but put him at second base, keep him at second base only. try and let what he does well shine and not worry about, playing left field, playing third base. Just put him at second base, keep him there, and whatever he gives you, great. That's kind of where I'm at with Jonathan India, which isn't a great spot to be talking about the number 3 infielder in this group. Um, it's a pretty big, it's a sizable drop off from Bobby to Maikel. It's a very big drop off from Maikel to India.
Yeah.
But that's just where we're at. Like, this is why we were talking about the Royals should trade for a second baseman. The Royals should sign Bo Bichette and have him play second base, which that fantasy is now over, unfortunately.
Yeah, I also really liked Jorge Polanco, and that fantasy is
Yep.
over from the same team who already traded for a second baseman before it signed either of them.
It makes no sense.
No, we'll talk
But
about that more later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jonathan India, I also think, like I said last time, I think the fence coming in, he could be one of those guys who sneakily benefits from that the most. A lot of warning track fly balls for him in 2025. So I have high hopes for him, but also if he starts off slow, I'm gonna be pretty quick to be over it. Whereas if he starts off
Okay.
fast, I'll be excited, but I'm not gonna hold my breath until I've seen him do it for, at least a month, I think.
Gotcha. I think that is a fair approach to have. Moving on down to number 4. This is honestly, I don't know where if you have this guy in your top 5 right now, but I got Jonathan India. I have Michael Massey as my
Jonathan
number
India
4.
for all 5 top spots. Let's go.
I have Jonathan India, the third baseman, at number 4. No, I'm joking. Yeah, Michael Massey, number 4. Where do you have him at?
Yeah, I also have Massey at 4.
Okay. And I definitely prefer Massey in the field to India. That's not a I don't want to say that's not a fair comparison, but it's pretty noticeable just with the eye test and with the metrics.
Mhm.
I think he is out of my top 5 Royals infielders. He is the infielder to have the most to prove in 2026. If that makes sense. Can he stay healthy? How does he produce with the new fence dimensions? How can he rebound into that 2024 form that we were expecting in 2025? Can he put 25 behind him and flush it just as soon as possible? But I think he's a pretty clear number 4 guy right now, and until he proves otherwise, he is going to be second fiddle to India.
Yeah, I do. The addendums I'll make on Massey is that he doesn't have a carrying tool, but he does have power. And with the walls
Yep.
drawn in, like I said last time as well, he along with India, I think are potentially the top 2 beneficiaries in terms of, maybe Salvi hits more home runs because of the walls being in, but they see their numbers, like their counting their rate stats go up more with the walls
Yeah.
in. And I do think that with India, I think a big part of the problem last year was that the Royals looked around and said, well, India maybe can play one of these other positions, and Massey's probably got second, and, one of them doesn't have it, then the other will, and it'll be fine. And they both imploded early in the season and had injury issues.
Yeah.
So the plan this year is to try that again, at least barring another signing, or trade, which could still happen. No matter what Ken Rosenthal says, it could still happen. Ken Rosenthal says, unless things change, the Royals will run out the guys that they've got now. Yes, Ken. Unless things change, they will remain the same. You are correct. Thank you for your stunning insight. I love Ken Rosenthal for a lot of things, but his off-season information can be a little lacking sometimes.
That's true. It could be very ambiguous.
Yes.
Most people don't realize how much of their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, and even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it together at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/secure. Protect yourself now at aura.com/secure.
So the Royals are going to try this again with Indy and Massey. I think with the walls drawn in, they both have a better shot to succeed. They could end up in a platoon situation, which would be really interesting. And I think that could even work with an improved outfield. Another part of the issue last year was the Royals were like, I said the Royals looked at them and said, well, one of them will probably succeed, and neither of them did. But the Royals actually looked at them and said, well, one of them will succeed at second and one of them will succeed in left.
Yeah.
And
that's how they looked at it.
They both blew up. The Royals had 2 holes in their lineup. So hopefully if they both blow up this year, it's 1 hole in the lineup, not
Hopefully
2.
so.
And hopefully one of them
Absolutely.
gets it back. Like you were saying, Michael Massey, I mean, they both had really good 2024s. I will say Michael Massey played for the Royals in 2024. So with the walls drawn in, if he brings that 2024 form back, he could be in for a monster season.
Yes, he could.
He's got the most to prove, but he's also got an opportunity to look the best out of the non-Bobby Witt Garcia divisions. So
yeah, I agree with that.
He's a guy that I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to Michael Massey early in the year to see whether we've got the guy from the beginning of last year or the guy from 2024 and the end of last year with shorter walls.
I like that. I definitely think that's something to keep an eye on after opening day. Hey, diverting from the list real quick is, so when we were talking about positional eligibility for these rankings, there were 2 guys that we very off the jump excluded from the infield picture because they played mostly in the outfield. But I think they will definitely factor into the infield. That's Nick Lofton and Tyler Colbert. And I would have both of them in that order right here after Massey. Do you agree with that?
Yep. And I would have Lofton and then Tolbert. The only thing I would say is that if they had signed Adam Frazier already, I would have him above them. But I
agree with that. Yeah. I joked about it on the podcast Twitter. Like, it just felt like such a foregone conclusion that they would bring him back that I just wanted to be back already.
Yeah, he's if I'm Adam Frazier, I'm sitting there going, I'm waiting till spring training. And I'm looking around to see if anybody has any injuries and they might want to give me more playing time. Because the path to playing time is not super clear in Kansas City right now. As a utility guy for Matt Quatrero, he'd get some. But if somebody has an injury other than the Mets, he could potentially get starting reps. So I suspect he's waiting to see, is there an opportunity to start and get paid like a starter, get 3 or 4 million, whereas the Royals might give him 1.5, 2. You know, and then if that doesn't appear, then he'll be like, all right, I'll come join you guys now. I'm sure he's working out and staying ready. I'm sure he has an offer in hand from Kansas City. It's just a matter of, hey, let me just make sure that nobody else wants me a little bit more.
Yeah. And like that's a good negotiating posture to have when you're a player like him at this stage of the offseason. It's all just business. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm like, this team is better for having Adam Frazier on it heading into 26.
Probably. But that is again a testament to the high level, the lack of depth of infielders in the upper levels. Fortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately so, which we're getting down to here at number 5.
Yeah. So my number 5, the actual number 5, now that we've talked about some theoretical number 5s, I've got Josh Rojas, who was a utility infielder for the White Sox last year. He's a minor league guy, non-roster invitee. He's got a chance to factor in if there's injuries. And that's pretty much all I have to say about him.
Yeah, I got him at number 5 too. The verbatim notes that I wrote down for him are not much to like, but will probably get MLB time just because it's Kansas City. Like that
Mhm.
is the first line. Second line, he doesn't chase much. He hasn't across his entire career, and that's been another trait that it seems like the Royals have been seeking out this offseason with their position player acquisitions. He and like you said, he does have that versatility. If you're rolling your eyes about us talking about Rojas at this point heading into 26, just think about your reaction if we would have told you that, or at this point in 25, that Kevin Biggio was going to be in the opening day lineup. Like
I
there
said
is,
Kevin Biggio was gonna be in the opening day lineup from the moment the Royals announced they had signed him, just for the record.
for the record, yes, you were correct. I was not a believer, rightfully so, as it turned out. I say that to just point out that there's always a chance. We'll see what he does in spring training, or if he just wants to stick on a minor
I
league
think
deal and wait for his turn.
Yeah, I think he's a Harold Castro kinda guy where he's here as emergency depth and not much more.
Yeah. And I will say that the Royals have signed a few other infield utility types to minor league deals. Rojas was the only one that I put on this list
Yep.
just because I got a gut feeling that he's going to be the one that sticks in the organization after camp breaks. I can't tell you why, but that's just what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree. Alright.
Moving on to number 6, we're talking
Yeah.
about utility here. My number 6 is a Royals prospect, and I got Javier Vaz. This
Also
is
my
where it's
number
going to start
6.
getting interesting. Oh dang it! I thought we were gonna. This is where we're gonna start disagreeing. Dang
Not
it!
yet.
Not yet. Vaz is a guy who he had a lot of helium heading into 2025, but he had a finger injury, I believe,
Yep.
to start off
Something with
the
his hand.
2025 season. What do you say?
Something with his hand.
Yeah,
I wrote
it
hand
was
injuries.
enough though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was enough though that he had like a career low in games, and I can't quote the broadcast verbatim, but I remember hearing late into the season that this was still something he was dealing with.
Yeah, for sure.
And it showed up in the numbers. He took a big step back in the numbers. I think like Baseball America had him as a in the teens for their prospect rankings in 25. He was completely off their rankings in 2026. Like he took a huge drop, and he doesn't have a lot of power. I wrote down contact because it's not enough to say he's contact first. He is contact first, second, and third. Right? That is it. He'll put one over the fence every now and then, but bat the ball is elite. He's got good speed. He's got good versatility up the middle. I think that he will. He's a guy who I feel comfortable saying he will make his MLB debut within the next 2 years. I just don't
Yeah.
think there's a huge MLB ceiling. Like I don't think he's going to be a regular, but I think he'll be a valuable player just for as a utility guy.
Yeah, I think we'll probably see him in 26. Yeah, I wrote that the hand injury kinda derailed him. He did have, last year was his first season in the minor leagues, first even partial season in the minor leagues where he had a below average WRC plus. But he did start to improve, in late June, and I have him, with like a 120 something WRC plus after that. So, like and we've talked about with Blake Mitchell that hand injuries can really sap you of your power. He doesn't have power to begin with, so sapping him of power was really rough, but he still got on base. He still hit his singles. He still walked more than he struck out. There's some value in there, I think, as a utility guy. I don't think he's a starting caliber player in the big leagues, but I think you could see a long career as a utility guy. Uh, and if he gets an opportunity to start, he could be a poor man's Luis Arias. We'll just have to see that hit tool. The hit tool is real. He's got some
Yes.
speed. He has no power.
Yep.
He does hit
That is
left-handed,
Yep. That he
so
does.
we'll
bat to ball coming out of Vanderbilt. He's a he looked really good in 2024. I thought he was the guy to debut in 25. Honestly,
Yeah. And maybe if he hadn't gotten hurt, we would have seen him with all the struggles they had at second base, but
Bryso,
didn't work out.
Bryso. Who do you got for number 6?
This is number yeah, no, this is 7.
Oh, yep, this is 7. Sorry.
I've got Josh Hammond, who
Okay.
was a Royals first-round draft pick, their second overall. I do not have Gamble on this list because he's projected as an outfielder, or the Royals talked about him as an outfielder, so he'll show up in my outfielder list, if at all. I haven't gotten that far yet, so I can't guarantee he'll be there, but looking at the Royals outfield is probably going to depress me at least as much as looking at the first base did. So Josh
Yeah.
Hammond, he has not yet made his pro debut. I don't have a lot to say about him, but he was a really high draft pick. A lot of people are very excited about him, and that's just kind of where I'm at, is that I think he probably belongs 7th on my list.
Okay. There you go. Where do I have Hammond at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I think these next few are a little interchangeable as low level, high ranked guys.
Yeah, precisely. Which like I go to my next guy, and it's another prospect type, very highly ranked shortstop, Yandel Ricardo.
I had
We
him
saw him with.
I had
Go
him
ahead.
next.
There you go. There you go. It's and this is all just projectability, right? This is Ricardo is a guy. I think he has good power. He didn't look completely overwhelmed when he came to Columbia for the first time in 2025. He didn't look perfect though either. He still steals bases at a good clip. He's heading into his age 19 season. He's probably going to head back to low A. So I'll be watching that a little bit closer. Will I'm also hoping that we're not seeing a repeat of another prospect who I'm going to bring up later on my list, who got stymied at in Columbia, spent multiple years there, and never really grew into the hitting projectability. Um, I'd let's see here. What was it? He's a switch hitter. Swing decisions are good, but lacking
If I'd
consistent,
remembered he was a switch
meaningful
hitter, he'd have been
contact.
above Hammond.
I don't have his splits right here in front of me, so I don't know if he's an impactful switch hitter. Does that make sense?
I
Like
don't care. I love
we
switch
see some of
hitters.
the. May I present you a Drew Waters? I'm joking.
Listen, I loved Drew
joking.
Waters until I saw Drew Waters, okay?
Fair. All right, moving on to my next on the list. I got another middle utility type here with Peyton Wilson. This is I don't know if he's on your list at all.
He is on my list. He
But
is 2 down.
2 down. Okay. But while we were all talking about, I want to remind folks, while we were all talking about Jack Caglione lighting up Double A earlier on this season, it was Peyton Wilson who was actually the best batter for the Naturals. He was doing the most damage. He had a WRC plus in the 200s to start off this year. Now he's a lot more experienced. He's heading into his age 26 season, and he did not do a whole lot at AAA after they promoted him. He hit a wall. Um, the speed used to be like a carrying tool, like in the upper echelon. It's not really anymore. He hasn't grown into power out of Alabama at all. He does pull the ball a decent clip, but like there's not a ton to like outside of he's got good fielding chops, and I think he is a very good base stealing threat, and he's higher up in this organization, which is going to help his MLB outlook.
All right. So he was your number 8, I believe.
Yep. Yep.
All right. And my number 8 was Yandel Ricardo. I don't have anything to add on Peyton Wilson except that at 26, he's not going to be a high prospect. Hopefully he can figure some stuff out and become a utility guy, but yeah, and the interesting thing, I'll just throw this out there, is that checking on his Fangraphs rankings, he's got a 70 speed grade on Fangraphs, but it's not showing up like you're saying in the stolen bases column. So he's not able to tap into that the level you would like. So my number 9 is a guy that I think is probably going to be pretty close to this on your list. Warren Calcagno.
Yeah, I got him down at 11.
Okay, so Warren Calcagno, he played in the Dominican Summer League at age 17 last year, put up video game numbers is what I wrote here. Um, I could get those for you real quick, but he was we just had the international free agent signing period. He was international free agent last year for the Royals and was very highly regarded. He's already ranked 17th in the organization by Fangraphs, despite again being age 17 in the DSL last year. He did only play in 9 games, but he hit 346, 514, 538 for a 1053 OPS in those 9 games. So hopefully we'll see more of him, and if he can get anywhere close to those numbers, which were 179 WRC plus, we could be getting real excited about him in a couple of years.
Yeah, and I like the organization when they signed him. I vividly remember this because the comparison kind of drew me back. Rene Francisco, I'm blanking on his actual title with the Royals.
Director of scouting or
He's
something like that.
I think so. It's either I want to say it's something international specific, but either moving on from
Major
that.
League and International
Said
Operations
gotcha. See,
/
he
assistant
said
GM.
that assistant GM too. There you go. He compared Calcagno to Marcelo Meyer.
Ooh.
And like that was, brand new prospect you want to talk about and things like that. But that was a pretty bold comparison at the time. And I think that Calcagno, he's heading into his age 18 season. He's a younger prospect, switch hitter as well, if I recall correctly. Like there's a lot to like about him. His The thing that surprised me and that I'm watching closely is the fact that his best perceived tools were in the field. They weren't at the plate. And
Mhm.
he produced at the plate. So is this a case of he's a flash in the pan, or is he much better at the plate than what scouts thought? And is he going to be a lot more than what we originally anticipated? But yeah, I think that's a good dig there from Calcagno. I'd have been at 11.
Yeah, I just to throw out there, Fangraphs prospect, like I said, they have him at 17 in the organization. They have his hit tool currently graded at 20, which is the bottom of the scale, but they think
Yes,
it projects to a 50, which is a middle of the scale. They don't think he's ever going to have much power. They do think he's got decent speed and at least average fielding. So I don't know what he projects as in the end. He's still a long ways away to take any of these numbers as gospel, but Fangraphs doesn't love him, but they don't hate him certainly. So we'll certainly see more of him as he continues to age, and hopefully, maybe he'll fill out, get some more power. He had 1 home run in those 9 games, so it's not like he doesn't have any power.
exactly.
But that should bring us to, I believe, your number 9.
Yeah, my number 9 is a guy who I still included here at Sean Gamble. I definitely think it's a toss up 50-50 on if the Royals are going to primarily put him as an outfielder or as a middle infielder. This is one I'm trying to manifest him as a second baseman or a shortstop.
Okay.
I I couldn't tell you why. Well, no, I can tell you why. I think that the Royals are lacking right now for high ceiling middle infielders. We
Yeah.
talked about Yandel Ricardo, but outside of Ricardo, it's a big drop off. And I think that if you can imagine Gamble as this smooth fielding second baseman who's still growing into power and has a really good plate approach, like I like that idea. I like that projectability. Is it what the Royals are going to do? I don't know, but I would certainly give him all the opportunities at any of the positions that he wanted to play at. This guy's just an athlete, man. He can play anywhere. But yeah, Sean Gamble, he's got good wheels. He doesn't have a ton of like head turning power, but he does have solid power. Hence why the Royals drafted him at 23rd. and still gave him an above slot deal. He's growing some more. He's currently listed at 6'1", 188. I think he's 188 on a good day. But yeah, I like Sean Gamble. I like him as both an infield and an outfield prospect.
All right. So then my number 10 was Peyton Wilson. Your number 10 was Josh Hammond. That takes us to our 11s.
Yes.
My 11. Who was your? Did you say your 11 already? I feel like you did. Was it Calcagno? Is that what you said?
Yes, he was my 11.
All right. So my 11 is Daniel Vazquez,
Okay.
who has been a pretty high prospect for the Royals, but hasn't necessarily performed to that level. He's still ranked by Fangraphs. Let me see if I can pull this up and figure out where his rank was again. I'm searching for Fangraphs on Fangraphs. That's not going to get me very
Unfortunately
far.
not. No, it is
So,
not, my
and he
friend.
doesn't have much power. He's not really expected to grow into any power at this point. He is ranked. Come on, load for me. Load. Why aren't you? There he is. He is currently ranked 25th in the organization. He's a 22-year-old right-handed hitting shortstop in Double-A. So he's always been young for the level, or he debuted in Double-A last year. He played 5 games at a 1 WRC. 1. That is a 1 WRC plus, where he hit 190, 190, 190. So no walks, no extra base hits, 4 singles in 21 at bats. Did not, look great in Double-A. Even in High A, which is where he spent most of his time last year, he only had a 98 WRC plus for the level. Doesn't whiff a ton, but he doesn't walk a lot either. He has some speed. Again, he has basically no power, and he's going to have to really develop the hit tool. Fangraphs has his ETA at 2026. I'm not seeing it. If we see him before 2027, I will be shocked. If we see him ever, I would be less shocked to never see Daniel Vazquez than I would be to see him debut for the Royals in 26.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to put it. We talked about him a little bit at the Rule 5 draft, and it was both because his eligibility and because I think the glove and the arm are like MLB ready. I think he is a very good fielding shortstop. Just that hit tool. The hit tool has never developed. It's disappointing a little bit, but like this happens with prospects, right? You just gotta take it on the chin and keep it moving. Where did I have? Oh, I'm making sure I count this right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I had him at 13.
All right. And he was
Not too far behind.
my 11th. And your 11th, we said, well, I'm losing track here.
What
Your 11th was
my 11th was Calcagno.
So who's your 12th?
My 12th is a guy very similar to Calcagno in infielder Ramsel Medina. Medina was a part of the 2025 international class, which we talked about a lot with Kendry Churio, really getting up there very quickly. Medina, I mean, he was a all-star in his first season there. He had an 802 OPS with, let's see here, 13 extra base hits in 44 games. Not too bad. Walked more than they struck out. The fielding looks good. I don't think that he has the arm strength to stick at shortstop, just from what I've heard and seen. So he might project better as a second baseman. Value here, or the thing that you can dream on, is his power. Primarily, it's gap to gap power right now, but he's generating some good sounding and good looking swings, although being very, very lanky. So hopefully seeing him grow a little bit more, seeing him get some more professional time. We'll see some more from Medina in 6. Did you have him on your list at all?
I have him at 13th. I love that he walked more than he struck out. He does not have a lot of swing and miss in his game. Doesn't hit a lot of ground balls. Like you said, he's got some gap to gap power. It's not really showing up in the ISO right now, but if he can grow into it all with a 398 OBP, he could turn into a hitting monster. And he is not currently ranked by Fangraphs, but he's a guy that I look at. I look at the numbers and how he got to like that 802 OPS isn't super exciting for me in the Dominican Summer League, but then you go, okay, well, he's 17 and he got there with a ton of walks and the ISO, the home runs aren't there basically. If he can take some of those doubles and put them over the fence, he suddenly turns into a very exciting guy. So he's what I would call a volatile prospect, I think, where he could turn out to be like a top 100 prospect in a year or two, or he could completely wipe out.
Yeah. That's just how this goes, man. It
But
could be
I
very
something about his profile gets me very excited about Medina, even though I did only rank him at a 13.
okay. Who do you have next up on your list?
So at 12, I have Austin Charles.
Okay.
So Austin
I got
Charles
him at 14.
yeah, he was drafted, I believe, in the 20th round. He was a guy that the Royals kind of tried to sneak in, gave him an overslot deal. Very athletic. He's always been young for his level, but he has not hit yet. And he's got a lot of swing and miss. He has no power. He has no walks. There's still some he gets on this list by virtue of the athleticism, but by golly, he's going to have to show something or in a hurry, or he is not going to be on this list next year.
No, absolutely not. I have him down at 14 because he is still very much a guy he's riding on his projectability. Very, very toolsy, but not I don't know. The production hasn't been there, and he's been in professional ball for a while now. So we'll see what happens there.
I've got him in the complex league last year in 4 games. He had a 16 WRC plus. Then they moved him to high A, and he had a 59 WRC plus. Slashed 205, 264, 298, 562 in high A as a 21-year-old, which is young for high A, but not so young that a guy that you're expecting to hit shouldn't be hitting.
Right. That's what it boils down to.
Fangraphs has him as the 9th best prospect in the Royals system, but they also give his hit tool a 20 current and a 30 future. That does not bode well.
No, it absolutely does not.
They do think he can grow into some power at some point, but it ain't shown up yet.
Nope, not yet. So it needs to start popping up sooner rather than later.
I do wonder if he was hurt some last year because he only played in 63 games.
Looking at his game log and when he was missing time, I think he was hurt. I just couldn't find anything that confirmed that, unfortunately. So I didn't want to say it with my full chest.
Because he was healthy. It looks like he was healthy in 2024, and he had a 117 WRC plus in low A as a 20-year-old, 257, 353, 386 slash line. So that, and there was still a lot of swing and miss in his game. He does get under the ball, which is good, I guess, for a guy that you're hoping has some power, but the power wasn't where it needed to be either. Like he needs, if he's not going to hit, he needs a 200 ISO, and he had a 130 in 2024.
Exactly. This is, we talked about the issues with finding first baseman, but I had a real tough time finding a number 15 guy for this list. This was some deep pulls for 15 here.
Yeah, my number 15 is a guy that if I didn't have to go to 15, I wouldn't even put on here. Though at one point I had him at like 8th, and then I was like, oh, here's a bunch of low minors guys who are interesting.
Yeah,
but that was just my 12th. So do you have a 13th? My 13th was Ramsel Medina.
Right. I already spoke on Medina. We talked about all my guys except for number 15. That's why I was moving on to it.
I've got a 14 that we haven't talked about yet.
Okay. Who's your 14?
John Aker Ugarte.
Ooh, that's a deep pull. No, I don't. I know the name though.
He debuted in the complex league at 18, walked a ton, but struck out even more despite not a lot of whiffs. He is projected to have above average power someday. So I looked at him and I said, those strikeouts feel like kind of an outlier, and the walks are there. They think he could find some power. He's Got a 21 org rank according to Fangraphs, and like I said, they expect him to have some power someday, and they expect him to be able to hit a little bit someday. Just not quite there yet. Very,
Yep,
very, very
not quite
raw
there yet.
guy.
Yeah. All right, down to like I said, I know the name. I don't have a whole lot to say about him. He's definitely a guy who we'll see where he is in a few years.
Yeah,
Um,
he's a guy I looked at those numbers and I'm like, I feel like there might be something here, but I also wouldn't be surprised if I never think of him again.
like the guy. So I had two guys I was flip flopping back and forth between 15 when it came down to it, and
All
one of
right.
the guys I was gonna go with for 15 sounds a lot like that, and that's Luis Stephen King.
Okay.
He just turned 18 this December, played third base and shortstop as a 17-year-old down in the Dominican Summer League. He walked more than he struck out,
What was
had
his name
12
again?
stolen bases. Luis Stephen King, three names.
Okay.
He had a
This is the
135
first I've
WRC
heard of
plus
him.
for what it's worth. Say again?
It's the first I've heard of him, so I
Yeah.
gotta look him up.
So truth be told, I was trying to put together an article and I wanted to include him in there, and I am struggling to find a good amount of film on him. Like it
Yeah.
is usually you can find clips at least. I can't find nothing. But he doesn't put the ball on the ground a ton, which I think is one thing that I just scouting his stat line. I was like, ooh, that's interesting. That's good. But he does also have a lot of infield fly balls. Pulls the ball a ton. Came out with a 135 WRC plus in his first 42 professional games, so that's a really good start. We'll see where he goes from there.
Walked more than he
But
struck out.
yep,
Doesn't show a lot of power, but he like you said, he projects to it, so yeah,
that he
that's an
does.
interesting guy. If I'd seen him, I probably would have put him on here instead of my 15.
Before I get to my actual 15, who is your 15? Might be the same.
Jack Pineda.
Okay, definitely not the same. What'd you like about Jack?
He's in AA. He made it all the way to AA. That's all I got for him. He debuted there in 24. He's started there last year. It looks like he was hurt because he only played 59 games last year. Doesn't swing and miss a ton, doesn't strike out a ton, doesn't walk a lot either. Showed almost no power last year. I don't know. There's not a lot to say about him. I just saw, listen, this guy's in AA. I feel like it's someone we might actually hear from someday, but I'm also, not sold on that either.
Fair enough. I took a similar dart throw for 15. Came down to Sam Kulasingam. He was an older prospect in high A. He spent the season at 23 years old.
How do you spell that?
K.
All right.
But he had a really good season for the River Bandits. Came out with a 122 WRC plus. Walked at nearly a 12% clip. Doesn't have a ton of power, but came out with a 375 on base percentage. That's absolutely going to play. A lot of his numbers are trending in the right direction, and I know Quad Cities really liked him. I know the fan base really liked him as well. It feels like I don't know. I'm watching mid 26 because it definitely feels like he could go from a complete non-factor to being on fans' radar very quickly if he goes up to double A and has a good amount of success as well.
Yeah.
Because okay, there's a player comparison that I'm hesitant to say out loud, but it's
Well,
a
now you
very
gotta.
similar track. Yeah, I know. I think that if he has a good 2026, we could look at like a Vinny Pasquantino-esque story. Vinny wasn't a highly regarded prospect at all. He was a double-digit draftee, and both of them share those traits. So we'll see what happens.
I will say it looks like Kulasingam has more speed than Vinny and less power.
Yes. Yeah.
He
Coolsingham did
also
have
puts the
22
ball on
stolen
the
bases
ground
this
more
year.
than half of the time.
Yeah,
which
He's
isn't
got a
if he's
decent BAB.
if he's got no power and he's got speed, it's not the worst idea in the world to put the ball on the ground all the time. The OBP, I'm loving the OBP and the swinging strike rate. So there's some promise there. I like both of your 15s better than Jack Pineda. I didn't see either of them.
I'm glad that you had that takeaway from it, Jeremy. Hey, I know we've run long. That's why we wanted to make this its own episode. Uh, are we ready to move on from the Royals signing Bo Bichette or Kyle Tucker?
Yeah, I mean, we have to be because the Royals aren't signing either of those guys.
Exactly.
So the Dodgers got just to run it down real quick, the Dodgers got Tucker, 4 years, 240 with a couple of opt-outs. That's the biggest AAV I think ever, and a lot of people are big mad about it. I'm a little bit like, listen, anybody could have signed him for that amount of money. Would it have hurt them if he didn't play well? Yeah, but if it seems likely he'll play well. So, and it's just one of those things where anyone can still win. They've they the Dodgers are sitting part of the thing about the Dodgers payroll is that they're sitting on some bad contracts. So it's not like their team is unstoppably good. This is people who talk about this. I think David Lesky has talked about it a lot, where having that much money doesn't buy you a perfect roster. It just allows you to recover from mistakes. So the Teoscar Hernandez contract might have been a mistake. Well, that means they can still afford to sign Tucker, where other teams that had signed Hernandez wouldn't be able to afford Tucker. They'd just kind of be stuck. But the Dodgers are still beatable. People are like, well, now this is definitely going to lead to a work stoppage in 27. And I don't see that connection. Because to me, the other teams all know that the Dodgers are like this. I think a lot of teams look at the Dodgers and are grateful for them because they're like, well, now I can tell everybody we didn't sign Tucker because the Dodgers just spend more than we did. And it's not because we didn't want to spend any money on him. So they kind
Exactly.
of use the Dodgers to take the bullet for him.
It does. I've been guilty of this too, and I'm always evolving my perspective and learning more things about
Good. That's healthy.
MLB payrolls. What did you say?
Good. That's healthy.
Yes, but I don't think the Dodgers are this financial boogeyman that so many other fans make them out to be. Like they do have a pretty favorable situation, but wouldn't you want your team to do the same thing if they were in that situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's not a permanent situation. I think it was Jen Ramos Eisen that either posted remember we interviewed her a few episodes ago. She either posted or reposted someone talking about how, yeah, the Dodgers are the boogeyman right now, but look back a few years ago and it was the Athletics and the Rays were just so much smarter than everybody. And before that, it was the Yankees and the Red Sox are outspending everybody. This is all very cyclical. I will also point out
Yeah.
something I didn't know was that the Dodgers' ridiculous TV deal does not factor into revenue sharing right now, which is one of the reasons they have so much money to spend. Is because not only do they have their ridiculous TV deal, but they don't have to give any of that to anybody else. And that's
That's
not a permanent
crazy.
situation either. That was something that was done in order to make the team more appealing when they were getting ready to sell it after Frank McCourt ran it into the ground. I would argue that the owners and the commissioner, who I believe was Hall of Famer Bud Selig, bear a lot of responsibility for allowing that to happen. That was a bad decision to allow the Dodgers to retain all of their TV money. You should have found a way to limit it more or to, put a year's limit on it or, you can't have all of it. You can have some of it, something. There needed to be a middle ground and there wasn't. And that's not on the players, first of all, which when we're
Right.
talking about a work stoppage, you're talking about the players should be mad at the Dodgers or the owners should be mad at the players because of the Dodgers. That logic, you lose me. You've completely lost me if you think the players are mad about this or if you think the owners are mad at the players about this. The owners might be mad at the Dodgers ownership, but that's not what causes a work stoppage.
Right.
Those
Well,
guys
I
are on the
think
same
that
side.
yes. I think that one work stoppage that we will see in 2025, though, is like Brett Beatty getting any work at second base there in New York.
26?
26. Dang it! Dang it! I almost had it. I almost
You
stuck
almost
the
had it.
landing.
You
Gosh,
almost had
dang
it.
it!
You were like, "Jeremy, I gotta get you away from the salary. Let's talk about Bo Bichette because that actually impacts the Royals more." And then you said 25. Go ahead and
And I
make your point,
lost it.
though, before I jump all over it.
No, because it was, we brought up as a pie in the sky free agent target for the Royals to target Bo Bichette as a second baseman. A shortstop by trade with the Toronto Blue Jays. He played second base in the postseason. We thought, maybe make this a little bit more permanent and build the best infield in baseball. Well, the Mets came in, pivoted away from Kyle Tucker, and signed Bo Bichette to a short-term, big money deal, just like what Kyle Tucker got in Los Angeles. Might be a trend to watch out for. And reportedly, he is going to be the primary third baseman.
Yeah. Well, that's because
A
they already traded
very
for Marcus Semien and said, "You're our
right.
second baseman." And then they signed Jorge Polanco. So I told you we were all gonna talk about this later. They signed Jorge Polanco and then said, "You're gonna play first." And now they've signed Bo Bichette, and they've said he's gonna play third.
Just
They
a
filled
team
the
of all
roster with second
shortstops.
baseman. You all thought the Royals were
Yeah,
bad with filling their roster with second baseman. Look at the Mets.
yeah. It's
Second
it's a
basemen are the
little
new market inefficiency. But these shenanigans all make it when they first traded for Simeon, Brett Beatty was playing a lot of second base at the end of last year. Jeff McNeil was playing a lot of left field. They traded Jeff McNeil away. So then they said, well, Brett Beatty's not going to play second. He'll play third. And they said Mark Vientos will play first. Well, then
yeah,
they signed Jorge Polanco, and he's going to play for. This is what fans were saying. I don't know what the team is saying. Vientos will play first. Then they signed Polanco. The team said he's going to play first, so that shifts Vientos back to third. Where does Beatty play? Well, and that's when I said, well, maybe the Royals could trade for Beatty because the Mets still need a starting pitcher.
yeah,
And then they signed Bo Bichette. I don't know where Vientos or Beatty are going to play. I've heard that maybe Beatty's going to play in left, but that still doesn't leave anywhere for Vientos to play. And if Beatty's in left, top prospect Carson Benj, where's he supposed to play? There's still a chance that they sign Cody Bellinger. Lot of people out there are saying Cody Bellinger is most likely to sign with the Mets right now. So if they sign him, he's going to play left field.
yeah.
There's
It's a
something's got
mess.
to give, and they need starting pitching. So we talked about Bubic could be more in demand with Ranger Suarez coming off the market. There's still Framber Valdez needs to get off the
Yes.
market, and then suddenly Chris Bubic becomes the top guy. So look, I saw Craig Brown put out his Sunday ramblings. He's worried the Royals are done, mostly because he saw the Ken Rosenthal thing. And again, Ken Rosenthal literally wrote, if nothing changes, it will stay the same, which is a tautology. It is true. Because of it, it's true.
Yes. It's a
So
very dumb moment.
yeah, I don't buy that. I think I've been saying it all along. I think the Royals are still looking to make a move in late January, early February. The timelines are really matching up with how things are breaking down now because Chris Bubic should suddenly become much more appealing again when Framber Valdez comes off the market. I think that's when a deal gets done, whether that brings Jarren Duran, whether that brings Brendan Donovan, whether that brings Brett Beatty, or some fourth or fifth person that no one's even thinking about right now. I still think it's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen after Valdez signs. I lost my train of thought, but the timing is starting to match up for my original projection that the Royals would do one more interesting thing at the end of January, beginning of February. And I think that interesting thing is going to be Chris Bubic gets traded for a hitter. I think that's what it's going to be. I hate to see Bubic go, but I feel if I was a betting man, which I try not to be anymore because I'm not very good at it. If I was a betting man, I would put money that Chris Bubic gets traded for a hitter before the end of spring training.
There you go. I think that's some smart money there, Jeremy. I will say that.
I would also bet money that Bailey Falter gets traded before the beginning of spring or the end of spring training. I
Oh,
would put
that I'm
even odds on John Schreiber getting traded before the end of spring training, and I would bet money that Adam Frazier gets signed before the end of spring training, barring an
well,
injury
maybe
to a starting infielder somewhere else,
yeah, yeah.
other than the
Well,
Mets.
I
Again,
would certainly
already have too many infielders.
a lot of infielders, a lot of infielders. Maybe we need some more quad A infielders, perhaps. All right, Jeremy. I don't have anything else on the Royals front. Do you?
Nope. I just want to make sure everyone remembers that I already wrote an article proposing a trade of Bubich, Mitchell, and India to the Mets for Senga and Beatty. I don't know if that exact trade works out, but it would be interesting. Something
It would.
similar to that could very well happen, I think, with some of those pieces. So keep an eye out. Go check out that article. Think about it. And I think that's all I have to say about the Royals right now.
There you go. Yeah, you can find that article up on RoyalsReview.com. Speaking of Royals Review, let's get on to some Royals Review reviews. Jeremy, I got a quick one, and it's honestly because I'm staring at the dang container right now. I forgot how much I liked this cereal. I'm going to sound really old for a second. I really like Raisin Bran Crunch. I
Legit.
really do.
That's a good one.
Legit. It is. It's just a very good cereal. I don't think it's healthy for you, but gosh
Probably
darn it,
not.
it's got raisins in it, so it's got to be good for you, right? It's
Sure.
got to be the best thing out
Got
there for you.
raisins and bran.
Yeah,
It's the
and the
crunch that gets
crunch.
you, I think.
Oh, the crunch is all the sugar crystals.
Yeah.
But yeah, Raisin Bran Crunch. I like it. Jeremy, what you got for a review? What do you like?
Man, I've had like 8 different things I wanted to review today, and I can only remember one of them, which in some ways is the least interesting to me, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I just remembered one of them. So let me throw out there trigger warning, a little bit political. The world sucks right now for a lot of people, and it's easy to feel helpless, especially if you doom scroll on the internet all day. I finally quit doom scrolling and decided to do something about it. I'm not physically able to participate in protests or really to do volunteer work. So I took what I do have, which is money, and I set up a monthly recurring donation to the Minnesota Freedom Fund, which is a group that works in Minnesota, which is again at the forefront of the modern civil rights movement for the second
Yep.
time in 6 years. And they work to reduce, basically the way our justice system is set up is that people without money get put in jail because they can't afford bail, and it sucks. And they work to mitigate that to whatever degree they can, whether that's through paying for the bail or lawyers to get the bail reduced, et cetera, et cetera. So that is one of my reviews is do something to try and improve the world around you if you can. If you can't protest or you can't volunteer, find something else you can do. Don't just post on social media. All it will do is make you fatter. And then as a palate cleanser for that, I will review an Apple TV series I've been watching. I tried watching The Foundation. It did not work for me. I got like 3 episodes in and I'm
Okay.
like, I don't know who any of these people are or what's happening, so I dropped it. At which point, fellow Royals review writer Colin Jekyll told me, watch The Silo instead. So I
Okay.
just finished the first season of The Silo last week, and I am really intrigued. It's one of those kind of science fiction mystery things, kind of in the same vein as like a Lost. It's
Okay.
about a group of 10,000 people in a post-apocalypse that are living in an underground silo, basically. And then there's all kinds of rules that, you can't have artifacts from the before times. And like our most sacred law is that you cannot ask to go outside, because if you do, you will go outside and it's bad out there. And then they've got screens throughout all of the area. They're like, you can see how bad it is outside still, just a absolute wasteland. And then in the very first episode, one of the characters is like, I think they're lying to us about it being awful outside. And she tells her husband, I'm going to ask to go outside. And they always tell us they want us to clean. They want us to clean the cameras. They call them sensors or something because nobody has cameras. in the
Uh-huh.
silo because that's one of the technologies that's forbidden. I know I'm getting way into the weeds, but bear with me. And she says, if it's actually nice out here, then I'm going to wipe down the camera. I will clean. If not, I won't clean. So look for that, and then you'll know the truth. And she goes out and she cleans. And it's like, is it actually nice outside? And then she appears to collapse, and everyone's like, oh, well, they must be lying with the cameras. And there's a huge twist at the end of season 1. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I will tell you, it is not the twist I thought it was going to be. So just know that I'm having a lot of fun. I'm a couple episodes into the second season. I think there's only 2 seasons right now, which I'm really bummed about. I thought there were like 4, so I was looking forward to watching a lot of this, and I'm gonna end up having
Yeah.
to wait for more of it. But yeah, I am absolutely hooked on whatever is happening in this show.
Apple TV Plus doesn't miss, man.
Not I mean, I feel like they kind of missed with Foundation, but I know it's got 4 seasons, so somebody really likes it. I just cannot keep up
Yeah.
with it.
I gotcha. It's a very in the weeds show.
What
Alright,
show?
well, it's a very in the weeds show. Like, I think it's a good show. I don't think it's one that you can not passively watch, but like you have to give it a lot of brain power, if that makes sense. And like
I don't have
I
the
don't
brain
need that
power
from
for
a
it, I
TV show.
guess.
Oh, yes, you do, Jeremy.
I was with it for I was in it for a couple episodes, and then the 3rd episode, I was like, "Wait, what?" And then the 4th episode, I was like, "Wait, what?" And then I asked around on the internet, I'm like, "Am I ever gonna understand this?" And a bunch of people were like, "Probably not." And I'm like, "All right, cool, I'm moving on then."
I think that's valid. And at the end of the day, even if something is good, you don't have to give it time if you don't find it good.
Yeah, I mean, I was really super interested in it, and then one of the characters I was really interested in got killed, and I was like, "Ah."
Boo. Tomato,
Yeah.
tomato, tomato. All right, folks, we're going to stop rambling on here and get on out of here. Thank you very much for joining us on today's edition of the Royals Rundown Podcast. We appreciate your support wherever you're listening to us at. Please drop us a subscription. Please give us a follow wherever you're listening so you don't miss
Smash
another
that like
episode.
button.
Yeah. But most importantly, go check out royalsreview.com. We publish the episodes up on there twice a week, and you get all the other great articles that come out on the website from the team. I am Jacob Milham. They're Jeremy Greco. Thank you so much for joining us today. And until next time, go Royals.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.